Think a single company could never bring down an entire country's economy? You're not alone. Most people assume governments are too powerful for that to happen. But what if I told you there's a company that didn't just bankrupt individuals or industries, but actually became more powerful than the government that created it? Today we're going to show you exactly how the East India Company became more powerful than nations and why their tactics are being used right now. Number 1. The monopoly. Nobody questioned. Let's start with something most people never question. How did one company get permission to control entire continents? In 1600, Queen Elizabeth III handed the East India Company a royal charter that seems impossible by today's standards. They got exclusive rights to trade with the East Indies. Imagine if... Number 2. When corporations wage war. And that's only the beginning of how deep this goes. The East India Company didn't just trade, they maintained their own army of 260,000 soldiers. That's larger than most national armies today. They conquered territories, collected taxes, and administered justice across millions of people. Think about that for a second. A private company was running courts, collecting your taxes, and deciding if you lived or died. When local rulers tried to resist, the company simply declared war. The Battle of Plassey in 1757 wasn't fought by Britain. It was fought by corporate mercenaries securing market share through violence. Number 3. The money printing scheme. But here's where it gets truly insidious. They didn't just control trade, they controlled the money itself. The company started issuing their own currency in territories they controlled. Imagine if Google could print dollars and force you to use them. They manipulated exchange rates, created artificial scarcity, and inflated their currency to extract maximum wealth. Local economies that had thrived for centuries suddenly found their money worthless overnight. You couldn't buy food with currency that was fine last month because a boardroom in London decided your money wasn't real anymore. This is economic colonization at its most brutal. Number 4. The Opium Triangle. The East India Company orchestrated one of history's most profitable drug operations through a triangular trade system. They cultivated opium in India, exported it to China where addiction was already spreading, then used the silver profits to buy Chinese tea and goods for Britain. This created a massive trade imbalance and widespread addiction, ultimately leading to the Opium Wars when China tried to stop the drug flow. Number 5. The wealth extraction machine. Now comes the part that changes everything. The East India Company didn't just make profit, they systematically drained wealth from entire regions. Economic historians estimate they extracted enormous sums from India, with some calculations suggesting trillions in today's money. Though the exact amount remains debated, what's undisputed is that they fundamentally altered India's economy, transforming it from a manufacturing powerhouse into a supplier of raw materials. Number 6. The complex dance of corporate and government power. The relationship between the East India Company and the British government was far more complex than simple control in either direction. While the company did become incredibly wealthy and influential, providing substantial loans and revenues to the British Treasury, especially during expensive wars, this created a symbiotic rather than dominant relationship. The government provided the company with military support, naval protection, regulatory frameworks, and political legitimacy. By the 1760s, this interdependence had grown so significant that neither could function without the other, creating a powerful corporate-state partnership that would reshape global politics. Number 7. The system breaks down. Then everything started unraveling faster than anyone expected. The company's debt reached catastrophic levels. They owed creditors more than some countries' entire economies, but they'd become too big to fail. Sound familiar? When the Bengal famine killed millions, there was little immediate global response due to slow communications and colonial attitudes. However, the company's financial crisis began to shake confidence in London's markets. Number 8. The corporate coup backfires. Here's the twist nobody saw coming. The East India Company's unchecked power became its undoing. The company's brutal rule, extractive policies, and cultural insensitivity culminated in the devastating Indian Rebellion of 1857, Sepoy Mutiny. The violent uprising, sparked by religious grievances and broader resentment of company rule, shocked Britain and exposed the unsustainable nature of corporate governance over hundreds of millions of people. By 1858, the British government had dissolved company rule entirely, establishing direct crown control over India through the Government of India Act. Number 9. Modern corporate influence, echoes of history. While we shouldn't oversimplify the comparison, there are notable parallels between historical trading companies and modern corporate power. Today's large corporations do lobby governments, influence policy, and extract wealth from regions while operating as private entities. However, unlike the East India Company, modern corporations face regulatory oversight, antitrust laws, and democratic accountability mechanisms, though critics argue these safeguards are sometimes insufficient. The East India Company didn't just bankrupt a country, they showed us exactly how corporate power can consume everything in its path, including the very system that created it. Their story isn't a warning from the past, it's a blueprint being followed today. The next time someone tells you a company is too big to fail, remember what happened to the British Empire.